Welcome to South First Inside View, and today I have with me my colleague Diksha, and we are doing this recording right from South First Bengaluru office. So, welcome Diksha.
Thank you, Nolan. It's always a pleasure speaking to you.
My pleasure as well. Diksha, today's we are going to focus on the story of written on the lives of those people working for Namma Metro. Now, many years ago, as a TV reporter, I remember I covered one such story. This was, I don't know when, and I remember going along with my camera person to the Baipanali area. Most of these metro workers were staying over there, a large number. And I remember this was summer, those were tin sheds, I think. I don't remember the covering, aluminium or asbestos, I'm not sure. But it was bad. It was summer. I tried to enter one of your homes and it was burning hot. It was suffocating inside. I know I've read your story and you say that it's bad, but I'm hoping that it's not as bad as it was many, many years ago.
Well, I didn't read your story back then. I believe I was still in school at that time.
Don't make me feel old, but yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, the story hasn't changed much. I feel like yours was a TV story. I wrote that story. It's still, and obviously the characters are different, the people are different. But the bottom line and the baseline of it is that they're still struggling. They're still struggling to make a living in the city. And my story starts with this line that they work for a city, they're building a city basically, which they can't afford to live in. And that is the truth. And these are people who have come from various parts of India, living here in Bangalore, trying to make a living, earning small wages and sustaining themselves. But they don't, because they don't have any other option. They are stuck in this. They have to, because uh, there are no other ventures they can venture out to and work. And the government isn't doing much to help them as well, since the metro construction has been going for a long time. All these people have been working here, and the story you did and I did, I believe there wasn't much of a stark difference for sure.
So there are 30,000 people, according to your article, 30,000 of them over here. Who looks after them? Is it Namma Metro per se, or is the contractors who have been tasked by Namma Metro?
They don't work for the government. They are laborers. They don't work for the government per se, but they are obviously, there's a middleman who helps them with this, and the middleman is the one who gets them on the job. The middleman is one who gets the cut from their everyday wages as well. So no, they don't directly fall under any of the government schemes or anything like that. But yeah, they work for Nama Metro, but they don't work for the government.
So what do they get? When
So
you
they,
say that they don't follow under the government schemes, I understand. But what benefits or facilities do they get anything as such?
As per the Karnataka government wage scheme, they do get a person could get from 500 to 700, depending on the kind of work they do. Women obviously get paid much less. But then because there is a middleman involved in everything, they don't really get much of it in their hand. If they are unwell, they are not working that day, they're not making any payment that day. If there is a beef between contractor or somebody with the person, they probably will not get the job for the next day. If there is a sudden death or something in the family emergency back home, they have to leave. They are not getting paid those days. They don't have the kind of leaves and casual leaves and all the kind of perks a corporate person would have, definitely. So it's a lot more damaging for them to not be working.
I want to know how you managed to do this story, because I remember when I went there, this was many, many years ago, and we had a camera with us. They knew that we were from a regional channel, and the moment the metro authorities found out that we were there, it was problematic.
Did you
In
take
fact,
permission from them?
No, we didn't take permission. I mean, see, if you take permission, it's all lost. They'll take you to a place where everything is, spick and span.
Hunky-dory, yeah.
Everything is nice. We wanted to actually see what's actually happening. We wanted the reality. So, did you take permission? How did you do this?
I followed the same mantra as you did, because, as you said, we've always, we've done so many stories on Nama Metro and the kind of lines they're opening, and everything is great and fun, and we obviously they show a very great picture. But if you
No,
want
I mean they're doing a good job.
they yeah, no, the city is connected and
Yes.
there are new lines opening up every
I'm
day.
waiting for the other line. We're all waiting for that. But okay, that's a different
Yeah,
thing.
so the
Yellow line, right?
yellow
Yeah.
line, yeah. So yeah, the Namma Metro is obviously going to connect the city, but the people working behind Namma Metro also needs to be highlighted. So obviously they are not going to do that, and I also didn't take permission. I went to one of the sites and speaking. I started speaking to them. I do speak Hindi, so it was quite convenient for me to speak to them. But then when a site engineer saw that, he obviously put a stop to it. I don't blame him. He doesn't want obviously authority sitting on his head later. So I did respect him and I left from that place. But I did give my contact and take contacts from one of the laborers, and I met them separately at their living quarters. So basically, the people I met are renting out small spaces. They are all living together in a very small cramped place.
They're renting out. It's not free.
No, they're not. It's not free. No, they are renting out small spaces, which is where like a few different laborers, they all are living together because it's much more financially affordable for them. But when I say small space, it's really small and it's more cramped because there are at least 6 to 7 of them living together.
No, again, they are renting this out.
Yeah.
They work for a contractor whose job is to provide them space to live, but they still pay.
Yeah, but because those spaces are not that accommodating, they're like not good.
So they're paying money for the stint sheds.
Yes, those
Wow.
they have to, because that is what they can afford as well. And at the same time, it still gives them a roof, because Bangalore is at times hot. There is rain. There is so much. You can't fall. As I said, if they fall sick or something, they won't
No
get
salary.
paid those days. So yeah, when they make this small amount of money, most of it goes into rent, their groceries, and whatever is left, they obviously send it back home.
So if the contractor is expecting them to pay for those tin sheds, I doubt they'll be getting any really good benefits. So if they fall sick, they are left on their own.
Yeah, they are. This is. I think this was a picture we saw in COVID as well. When COVID hit,
Yeah, I
they
remember,
were
yes.
they were the section that hit the most. They didn't have means to get back home.
I remember I've seen
Yeah.
them. I've spoken to many of them walking, especially on Palace Road. I remember standing over there and seeing, I don't know, hundreds or maybe thousands just
It
walking
was an
back.
eye opener at that time, but I have to say people have shut their eyes back again as soon as COVID was over.
People don't care.
Yeah, because they obviously everybody shared those videos on WhatsApp and say, oh my god, their legs are blistered, their feet are blistered, they are walking all the way back home and everything. And everybody spoke a lot sitting in their homes. But now that the situation is back to normal, they are gone back to their normal, which is obviously not okay, which is not correct. But then it's something you and I sitting here really can't help them with. We can put the stories out for people to see. That is what you did back years back and I did few days back. So
No, nothing has changed.
Yeah.
I realize. But in your article, there are two interesting things that I found. One is one of the lady or a woman who is aged 32, and she says that she wants to save money so that when she gets back home or goes back home, she'll be able to set up a tea stall. Now, it doesn't take that much money to set up a tea stall. So for her to say that she needs to do that to save money, which means they're not getting enough to manage.
I also have to tell you, tea stall doesn't make much also, but she's ready to accept that because that keeps her closest to her family.
Correct. Yes.
That keeps her closer to her roots. That's a very that would be a steady income for her.
Yeah.
Where rain or come winter, she is still making those teas, selling it to people, going back home, living with her loved ones, and is not in a strange city. Struggling with the kind of things she is struggling right now. So everybody there I spoke to has their body here, heart back home, but can't really do much about it because they have to earn.
They have no option.
They have no option. They have to earn for the family back home. And there were many who wanted to get their daughters married, get their kids to a better education, build houses up like they were with pakka makan is what they call back home. So yeah, there are so many things that are keeping them here, but it is preposterous to think ki even in this situation they want to stay here and earn. How much bad is the situation there? Like how much unemployment there is that they are okay to stay in a bad situation like this here and work.
True. When you spoke about the fact that many of them were walking home back home during COVID, and they had blisters and all that, brought me back to another aspect in your own article about safety. You say that safety issues are not paramount as such. I mean, this is extremely damning, especially for Namma metro authorities. One would assume that things have changed. This is not the 50s or the 60s or even or the 70s India. We've seen things around the world. We know how important safety gear is and safety equipment. We do see them wearing helmets, gloves, but I don't think that is what it is. I mean, from your article, I feel something's amiss.
So there are statistics which say there are n numbers of death happening every month.
Every month.
Every month there are some n numbers of
But
deaths.
these are reported.
Reported, yeah. The ones not reported and which it goes under the
Yeah. I mean, these are deaths, but what about the injuries?
There are
Injuries which
injuries.
have actually, which will stop them from ever working.
Yeah. So these gears that you mentioned, as you mentioned, the metro work has been going for a long time. They have since not been changed. These are gears which have been worn out in summers and rains and the kind of weather they work, and especially they work in dark tunnels under there. So they are obviously worn, and most of them also, like for example, the woman I spoke to there, she mentioned that safety is a concern, and some of the men there try to help the woman out so that you always as a humanity factor they do it, but it's not guaranteed that someday every day there is going to be someone or the other, and we hear about these deaths and it's everybody says, oh, that's sad, and then moves on. Nobody does anything about it. Do I believe Namma Metro is directly not doing anything about it? No, but I do think there are middlemen who obviously whenever there's a budget allotted for this, do they get cuts and it goes to somebody's farmhouse somewhere or the other. Yes.
Yeah, but still Namma Metro is responsible.
Yeah, true.
They are
have to take
constructing this
accountable.
for them.
They have to take accountable. But then again, there is this question of these are workers who are getting mere amount of 500, 700 paid per day. You think they're going to spend thousands on one person's safety?
Every life is important.
Yeah, that is true. They would rather pay compensation after they're dead than speak for the living body. Yeah.
And what compensation? 4-5 lakhs?
Which again doesn't reach them right after.
Wow. I mean, it's just unbelievable that even after all these years, the metro workers are forced to live in those horrible conditions. Safety aspects, from what you're telling me, is still not up to the mark. I mean, it's just shocking, but
it is, and it also feels what do you say, inauthentic for you and me to sit here in an AC room and speak about that. It feels really like unfair on their part that you and I got that we come from a privileged background where we are able to talk about this, but they don't know it's wrong as well. They every day the way they are treated, they are so used to it, they don't see anything wrong.
No, but hence what we are doing is very important,
It
because
is.
at least the people in Bengaluru will know that Namma. I mean, I'm not saying Namma Metro is bad. It's good. The service is fabulous. I use it from Church Street to Cubbon Park to Church Street. But the point is, the people who are constructing or doing the hard labor also need to be treated fair and provided with the basic facilities,
True.
not those horrible living conditions.
What I just said was not something I am saying, it was something I was told by them, because when the engineer came and I was still insisting they speak to me, this is what they told me. You will go back with your story. We might lose my job because of you, a 130, 300 page article. And it did hit me, okay, I am being very privileged here and asking them to speak to me without even thinking what it might have effects on them. And that is why my entire story has anonymous names. They are not the names of the people I spoke to. Their pictures are not.
You have to keep them safe.
Yeah, we have to, because again, I go back home to and think like, oh, my editor is happy with my story, and then
Otherwise it'll be V for Vendetta.
Yeah, I swear to God. So that when I sit here and say that we are privileged, I am saying this because I was told this. So I wanted their voices to be heard through this, that this is what they told me, and it is true. And if we don't acknowledge that, then I would be
We have to make this very sure for our viewers that these are not our opinions.
No,
these are people who actually are working over there, whom you managed to
Speak to, yeah.
and if metro officials found out that you were speaking to them, they would have been fired.
Yeah, so I say that is why I took utmost care to not mention where I spoke to them, not mention the metro stations I went to, because as much as I want that, this is not just if like this metro or that metro, this worker, that worker. I feel like this is all 30,000 of them who are working.
30,000.
Yeah, all of them are going through this, are facing this, and have been facing this since the metro work has started. And if you want a bigger example, COVID-19 should have been the bigger example for that. You and I sitting around not making a fake stories about this. So you speak to any laborer, be it in Namma metro or some other metro or some other government work or some bridge, some road, something. They'll all have the same stories to say. Yeah. So.
All right. I mean, I'm glad that you picked this story. I'm hoping that you can come out with more such stories, because I don't know if things will change, but at least people should start talking about it, saying that, and start questioning Namma Metro, saying that these are the people who are doing work for us.
Start questioning the
Yes.
proper officials as to what is happening, because these laborers don't know their rights as well.
True.
They
Very
don't know,
important.
because they think they are so they are what is that word, can't remember, but they are so used to this behavior
That they feel that
yeah,
this is the norm.
this is the norm. This
Yeah.
is, it's like, oh, we grew up like this, we saw our parents, and but they want a better future for their kids. They
True.
don't know how to.
True.
And yeah, so that is it. And when you said we should do more stories like this, I actually have to mention we have another story on our website where I did a story behind the stories behind the Lal Bagh workers.
Mhm.
As you all know, ongoing Republic Day Flower Festival is going on, and the hands behind, the gardeners behind these flower festival is what the story I picked on, and that was a much better story than this was. So there are few more stories like this on our website if you guys are interested. We'll link it in the description box. But yeah, this story was born from that story, and I have to say I thought this would be pretty much the same. I didn't think this would be a very, because that was like flowers, and they enjoyed the flowers, they enjoyed the gardens. They did have some troubles coming, traveling and everything. But then most of them are under the government thing, so they have the free bus and everything. Now these laborers don't have that because they are not from Karnataka, so they have a different set of problems. But yeah,
Ending this, I really wonder if all these people who actually worked hard to construct Namma Metro, various lines over the years, have they ever traveled in a metro train? I don't know. I'm just thinking all those 30,000 is the number as of today, but over the years might have crossed a lakh.
Nolan, you don't even see them during inauguration.
No, we'll see one or two.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
yeah,
there.
yeah,
It's okay.
you're not
Just to
seeing,
show.
yeah, you're not
But-
seeing the hands behind the metro.
So they can only stand down and watch the
it
train.
go,
Okay.
but
I built
yeah,
this.
Yeah, but yeah, somebody on some random Zoom call gets to inaugurate it, but the people on the working behind it don't get to see it. Yeah.
That's life. But thank you. This is an eye opener. I hope it's an eye opener. I know many people have spoken about it, but we should continue talking about this.
Yeah, if we don't, because as I said, they don't know their rights.
Yes.
They will not want to put them outside, because I've seen so many documentaries, they're always hiding their faces. We don't see the hands behind the work, we don't see the faces either, because it's a risk for them. So we can just be the voices for them.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome, it's always wonderful talking to you. See you guys next time. Bye bye.